Hey there, guys. Hopefully, you're all keeping well. Thank you for stopping by Wasteland Games. This is the update video in terms of the final construction of this crazy steampunk based tank that I've been putting together for the past week or so. And wanted to share just kind of like where things are at and the final build of the whole project. So, as you can see here, I decided that the original tracks, or I guess the track that came with the tank itself, were kind of this is kind of small, and I had this Caterpillar bulldozer around, and I decided, as you can see there, to swap it with these tracks instead. So I kind of fiddle around with it for a little bit, but I think it's definitely a winner. So in terms of just making it more of a beefy looking vehicle overall. So yeah, so at this point right now, I'm just trying to get the build really focusing on the tank itself, get it looking like a tank, which consisted of making sure that the tracks were done, and then ultimately the turn itself. But when I was putting the trains wheel assembly on the tank body, I ended up mounting the metal brackets to the top of the vehicle, as you can see in the center. And I was actually going to cut them off with a Dremel, but then I was thinking, the diameter, funny enough, of the tank top was actually fitting perfectly. So I kind of thought, well, this is still would work. I can actually turn it and kind of move things around. So it really kind of happened by. I'm not going to say I did this intentionally, but yeah, it just kind of happened by fluke, I guess. And it kind of worked out good because I had originally flipped the tank all around. The original design of this particular model tank, the turret was at the back, but I had turned everything around, so I knew that I think I should put this in the middle, and I was happy it was going to work out this way. And then what I would be able to do is just cover up the opening of the tank with some cardboard, so it wasn't going to bother me at all. And first thing I had to do was actually cut off, trim the plastic pieces off a little bit, and kind of cut off some of the tabs that were part of the on the bottom of the tank itself. Because usually there's two tabs that fit inside, and you can turn the whole tank around. But in this case, because I had the brackets in the way, that wasn't going to work anymore. So yeah, I'm just going to work on assembling the turret itself, and just really watch how much glue I'm using overall, so it doesn't end up being superly messy. And just kind of clean things off a little bit. Didn't really matter if like it wasn't perfect. I mean, I wasn't going for like a true scale, tank model. Not that I could really kind of do that, but I mean, perhaps I could try again in the future to do one that's a little different than this. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to get it looking like a top of a tank. So yeah, if you're building plastic models, like don't go overboard with this glue. It basically is it's going to kind of like melt the plastic together. So that's why it's really good. And you want to be kind of patient with it as well. So it's not like crazy glue because it does take time to dry, but it's it certainly has its purpose when you're working with plastic like this. And you know, I use actually, and you might actually notice that I use crazy glue and the plastic glue at the same time in some scenes. So it's only because I wanted to be able to move the parts around. So this is actually the light from the top of the original train. I thought it'd be kind of cool to start incorporating various bits that will make this thing look like a steampunk tank. And what better way to do that by adding the top of the light to the front of the vehicle. So I kind of wanted to just share this part here. I'm actually searching for some parts. My other workbench, and these containers are sorry stands, I guess, in the background here. They actually belong to my dad, um, and he had passed away a long time ago. I was pretty young actually at the time. So a lot of this workbench here actually has a lot of tools, including this chest here, that has nothing's been taken out of here than really like 30, 40 years, pretty much. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to look for parts, and yeah, I found these like little I don't know, what do you call them? I don't know, some kind of fitting, and I thought it'd be cool to make an engine out of these like brass parts, or like little tubes. So I was thinking it looked kind of cool. So this is just me setting everything aside that I thought looked kind of neat, so including this piece right here. Looked kind of like a smokestack to me, and I thought, well, it's got an opening and it looked kind of perfect. It's got a bit of a thread on it too, so I could thread it into a bolt and or a nut, and yeah, see what I can make. And there were some like weird elbow pieces and another tray, so I kind of like grabbed a few things together and brought them back home. So this piece here I thought would be kind of neat originally as the core engine, and the black piece is actually the lower chassis of the back of the train. So I kind of had turned it upside down in the end, but at first I thought, well, maybe I could just throw this fitting on the back here, but then I thought it just looked like it was a faucet extension, or I don't even really know what this is, at the back of the train, the tank. Sorry, and I don't know. It just didn't really look quite like. But this is just me mocking everything up, and that's just part of the fun. So yeah, once I started figuring out like roughly how I wanted this back area to look, I yeah, just kind of kept laying out the parts, and I was trying to just I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't really want to add a lot of little pieces here and there. I kept thinking about like a steam engine, and I mean the main train itself was really just like this round cylinder that had a door on the back. Um, so I was trying to think, oh, okay, what am I going to add to this? And I really like this smokestack idea. Um, and I wanted to make sure I incorporated it into the model. But to cover up the thread, as I was mentioning before, I could just use a nut and kind of thread the two pieces together, and then just kind of glue it all in one shot. So I actually used a hot glue gun to glue the base of the train. I had turned it upside down, like the back section of the train was actually flips upside down, and then I used the bottom as the top, basically now the top of the engine, because I thought it looked pretty neat. But overall, because this was a steampunk tank, I kind of like the idea that it looked modern, but also powered by a steam engine, and what it really was. What I was really trying to go for was the general look of the Gaines Workshop Empire steam tank. Basically, it had the cannon in the front, as you can see here, and it also had the smokestack at the back. So, and then just well armored all around. So I mean, I never actually owned one of these, but I always remembered seeing it back in the day, and that was generally the main look I was going for when I was putting this together, was to combine like the power of the steam engine and the look of the tank itself. So this is kind of like the end result of putting all those parts together and coming up with just a unique base look. And as you can see at the bottom, I actually used the center section of the original train to create create the bottom chassis. And then this black piece here is actually it's the front grill from the Caterpillar tractor that I took apart. I thought it would be cool to have a textured bottom, so I just use it here as a floor for the engine, and it actually fit perfectly. So yeah, definitely getting lucky with like things fitting in. Of course, it falls as you're trying to glue it, but that's why you need to just add some more. So once I got the main, obviously the main part of the tank done, and the bod and everything like that, and I covered everything with cardboard where I felt it needed to be thickened up a bit, and created. I blocked out, as you can see now here, I blocked out the original turret section with a piece of white cardboard stock, and I started adding various plastic bits from some of my model kits, and I felt it needed a gear. So in one shot, I got it to fit perfectly. Just with using some clippers and just some, basically just kind of eyeballing it, and I was kind of pleased with the way it looked. It was still looking kind of simple and not overly cluttered, and it was going to fit nicely. Um, this piece here is actually from the original train. One of the side, I don't even know what you call this, but I felt it was actually in my plan to attach some of the original components from the train to the side of the tank. And as you can see here, it looked pretty good that I was able to get that piece off. And then I was actually thinking about covering the some of the track portions. So I needed a few bits here and there to kind of make things stand out. So I started to add just a few things from the original tank kit, to kind of make it work. Then I also had this idea of putting some piping. If you have a steam engine, you need a pipe and some valves. And I thought about adding this section of piping across from the back to the front. I actually originally wanted it to go right to the chassis of the tank itself, and make it look like it was delivering some kind of power, or some kind of hydraulic fluid or something directly. So I was trying to figure out how to angle it and attach it, but wasn't really quite working exactly the way I wanted it. But I thought it looked kind of cool that it was just kind of going across on a weird angle. And if you notice, the pieces of the sprue has these little mounting points, and I clipped off. Basically, these are little watch dials, or I don't know what you call them, like when you're winding a watch, and that are changed the hands. I had saved a couple that we were trying to donate, and for this build, basically, I clipped them off and used them for the valves on the pipe itself, as you can see here. So yeah, to finish off the engine, added a few more bits here and there, and then I used some cardstock to kind of build build out the back, and glued a few pieces of round, I don't know, cylinders, I guess, to the side and the back, and then I added a few more of the train pieces, some sandbags for realism, and just some other like odds and ends, to make it look pretty cool. So for some finishing touches, when I was adding the tracks to the train wheels themselves, some of the track I couldn't get it to fit like really perfectly around the wheels. So I had an intention to fill them in with some stone, and basically I just take some standard Elmer's white glue, kind of filled in some of the gaps, and then I took some. Oops, I didn't mean to actually spill all the rock, but anyways, just to take a bit of the rock and throw it in like in the sides where there was like a major gap, just to kind of fill it in, so to make it look like the tank itself has already been driving through the dirt, and the dirt's just got stuck in the tracks itself. So after all that, I basically set it aside and let it start to dry. As you can see here, the rock is now kind of stuck to the vehicle, and it's looking pretty good. I actually kind of liked it this way. I didn't really feel like actually painting it, but I know this thing is going to have to be detailed as much as I can. I covered the light bulb, obviously, with some tape, and when I picked up a brand new can of satin black instead, and yeah, basically base primered it in black so far. So this is what it looks like. Actually, I never mentioned the top of the tank. I used a kind of a square piece to give it a little bit more detail up there on top of the cardboard, and it kind of turned out really well. So overall, it kind of balances, and I like that everything kind of works at the top. And gonna have a lot of fun painting this. I just wanted to share kind of like the overview and the build, and just sort of like some of the ideas I was having along the way. Um, some of it's basically ad hoc, and some of it's sort of like a rough idea what I had kind of planned out. So actually, the cannon itself, I was going to replace it with a different gun, and I couldn't find the gun itself, so I just kept the stock original cannon, which makes sense to keep anyways. So next time you see this thing, it's going to be another painted, and this is for the UK Gaslands contest, and just having fun building it in general. So hopefully some people have some ideas from it, and yeah, we'll see what we can do to keep building some cool stuff. Thanks a lot for stopping by.